has a microphone and we are doing it, including
and they have an opinion. I want to talk about Nick Cannon.
And his 12 Easter baskets.
You are the father.
What on earth? What on earth? Like, I don't even get it. And I was telling your brother, right? And I was like, there's something so off about this. And your brother's like, no, but if he can afford it. But then I remembered that whole conversation about how apparently in the US, once you reach 10 kids, you don't have to pay child support.
Do you think that's what he's doing?
I mean, what else is he doing? Like, what complex does he have? Maybe he's not doing that.
No, but hasn't he kind of explained? He's had multiple interviews where he's talked about, I don't know, I've seen somewhere where Nick Cannon has talked about why he has so many children.
What did he say? Let me see if I can find something.
Fact checker.
Or like something we can read. Fact checker, yes. This is so funny.
The only thing that I've heard Nick Cannon explain is that he likes all kinds of women. But most people who have a lot of kids, they say, hey, legacy.
But you know what I feel like?
Yeah.
I feel like most of these women that have let him plant his seed in their garden while planting it in millions of other gardens, he simply just tested the boundaries to see what it is that they would tolerate. And they said they'll tolerate this. And that's the only, like, because for it to continue, someone has to perpetuate it, right?
Yeah. I actually think not a lot of, I only know one of his baby mamas. You know, she was on Selling Sunset. And
Yes, favorite one.
Yeah, she's a villain, but I also feel like she's competitive. Because actually, this ties into what I was thinking we should talk about today. If you are a competitive woman, I think it would feel like the ultimate prize if you were to get someone like Nick Cannon to be like, maybe you're his last stop, his last baby mama, the favorite type of baby mama. Because I think that's what Brie kind of internalizes. There's been moments where like this one, she likes that he's on good terms with Nick Cannon and they have an understanding. Because then it's like, I'm much cooler than all the other 10 ladies.
Yeah, but I still feel like it's still accepting like...
Oh, but still, you're going to be competitive and bring a whole child in the world. I don't know. So Nick Cannon has the money and whatever, but does he have the... Can he divide himself into 12?
He can't, because if you go on his Instagram, literally like right now as I do that, because I'm the fact checker for now, Nick Cannon. If you go onto his Instagram, and this is what I was wondering about. The one that you see, it's Brie, but that's the one that she tagged him in. And then the one that he posted himself is that other DJ lady. So he's got this other DJ lady, he's got 3 kids with her. So maybe the amount of kids you have with him decides how much time he spends with you guys, because I can't imagine how it works.
I also don't know. I actually think...
Does it?
I think if you have kids the way Nick Cannon has chosen to have kids, you're not having kids to actually be a dad.
You know what I mean? And I found something online. So apparently, Nick Cannon has 12 children with 6 different women. He's explained that he wanted to give his partners what they desired, which included having children. And he felt that he could handle it. Some reports also suggest he is financially stable enough to support such a large family.
Okay, but it's not just about that. Are you a father? Are you a dad? Okay.
But also another thing, how many men actually understand? It's an ego thing.
Yeah, like from what? Okay, so can you mention names on this thing? It's fine.
We
Penuel,
can.
the self-proclaimed I'm a father of many, right? And from the times he's spoken about why he had so many children, it never made sense to me.
I think having children is more important than committing to a woman.
Okay.
This one is tough for people. I think legacy. I think leaving children is more important than leaving a story of me and Itu who are so loving. So I would rather that becomes a higher priority for me.
Because what you are saying, okay, you want to have a legacy or whatever, but someone carrying your DNA in the world is not a legacy because the ideas that that person has, what they think, how they think, is probably not going to be aligned with you because you are not
you, yeah.
person or these 10 people that you're raising. So most of the time, I feel like the mothers will do an excellent job raising whatever impressive child, and then the dad can be like, yeah, this is my legacy. These children are so
take all the credits.
I was saying I think a lot of men have children, so many children because they actually are convinced that their DNA in itself is their legacy.
Is the greatest thing. Yeah, I think so. That's what I'm saying, that it's an ego thing inevitably, because why else would you do that? Okay.
Actually, I have an unpopular opinion now, which is men, your DNA is not a legacy. Stop having kids because you want to pass down your DNA. You're not giving anybody anything.
Yes. Who's that that blogger or that YouTuber? Who is it? That guy that's just having kids? Penuel.
It is. When
If there's a person who thinks his semen is a legacy. Like, and you know what? I watched videos where he brought his kids onto the show, right?
I did.
And these kids are so good.
So stunning. I saw the girl. She's gorgeous.
And she's so lovely.
You know, maybe we'll even put the clip. He's talking to this kid, and this kid is talking about how amazing the mom is. But Penuel is still trying to take credit. He's like, why aren't you congratulating me?
Without saying her name to your mom, just to say thank you for everything she's done for you and what she means to you.
My mom could be one of the prettiest women I've ever seen.
Come on. Shout out to your dad. That's what's up.
Okay. And she's really nice. And she's strict in her own way, but in a way that is, like, teaches. And I thank her very much for making me the person that I am today.
You look like your mom. People tell you that.
It's like, for what, bro? Like, for what?
It's not an accomplishment. Please stop. Like, oh my God. And he's like, and he actually feels, like in the video, I got the sense that he actually feels like, yeah, my DNA.
No, I did something. My seed. No, really, that's the vibe that he's giving. He really gives the vibe that my seed did this. And it's like, do you understand? To raise and nurture a child requires more than just the egg and the sperm. It requires consistent raising on a daily basis. And if the child is not living with you, your impact on the child is like next to nothing. That's just the truth of the matter.
It's nothing. It's not next. It's nothing. Like, you actually can't say, oh yeah, I'm a great orator and my daughter is so great at speaking, because no, probably their mother is probably someone who's teaching them those things, or she's paying for school so that they go and do the things.
Girl.
So that's the opinion. Your DNA is not your semen is not legacy.
No, it's not the legacy.
Also, women are down bad. You see that video too?
Which video?
The pastor and the wife. They've been married for 32 years, so they came on this show and spoke about how they have made it through 32 years. And the whole story is just this lady withstanding verbal abuse and cheating. And I'm like, guys,
and I'm like, let's just pray together. He goes, I'm not praying with you.
Yes.
I go, but you go to intercession. He's like, yeah, I'll pray with them, but I don't want to pray with you.
Yeah.
And the church is booming.
Booming. But Mark 3:25 says a house divided won't stand. And the enemy will try to, he's cunning, he's crafty. And we really were going through a demonic, satanic time where the enemy was trying to destroy our marriage.
Yeah.
Where I fell in love with kingdom. And I had no balance.
It doesn't help.
Proverbs 11:1 says a false balance.
He keeps on cutting her off, eh?
Sometimes the enemy can't make you sin, but he'll make you busy.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say it doesn't help either when, a man of God's on the road doing a book tour and a woman says, my body is for preachers. That doesn't help either.
What's he talking like that?
Yeah, we've seen it all.
Dude,
Yeah.
I
Heard it all. But God, Heavenly Father.
And I'm like,
But I remember she was 175.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm used to 125 too.
Yeah.
She 5'6", 175, and she was the wrong color.
right.
She was the wrong color.
I was getting my notes because I watched a portion of the rest of the interview because I was like, maybe maybe it's not that bad. Is that it's worse? Okay, so I even wrote notes.
Okay.
So in this whole thing, they're talking about how they've been together for 32 years and whatever. And so she tells the story they tell the story. Are we getting a cute love story of people working together in life?
Love and harmony.
No. It's basically this lady enduring deplorable things. One of which was she was ironing his clothes to help him prepare to go meet his side chicks. Mind you, she's away. She's those.
No, wait, I'm sorry. No. Wait, they said this on the video, on the podcast, with their chests.
Yes. And she's one of those, as long as he knows where home is, type of women. Right?
I'm sorry? As long as he knows where home is.
Yeah,
No.
coming back for 32 years. So, mind you, he just said you were the wrong color and the wrong weight. He even said...
But this is my thing. Where's the self-respect, though?
No, and you know what? The crazy part is in the interview, she's like, yeah, a lot of people would even say... Oh, no, the interviewer says, wouldn't people say that you have low self-esteem? And she's like, yeah, and I probably did have low self-esteem. And I'm like, ma'am, get up. But anyway.
You still do.
And also he said that to her. He said to her, he's like, I once looked at her and I said, you don't know what you stand for, you don't know yourself, you don't know nothing. And she's smiling. So she would iron his clothes to go meet side chicks. Okay.
Oh my God.
And she says, quote, listen, she says, and quote, I don't recommend you do this unless you are graced by God. Close quote.
What does God have to do with the trifling?
And then she says that her mother was cheated on by her dad, but the mom left. So she always used to think our family would be together if you had just stayed. So I think that's right. So I think that's maybe what she's
the trauma.
And then the man says his father had 6 baby mothers and 10 children. And mind you, it's important to note both of these people are in a congregation. They are pastors. So this is the story that they used to tell people to say, yeah, our marriage is...
Begazela.
And so I wanted to say that sometimes the demon and the devil and all
is the one in your house.
It's one and the same. Because there's no way. What are you saying? How?
It's not a third party entity. Okay?
It's the person you're sleeping with.
No, I actually think if you, even with a Christian interpretation, how would a man who cheats, hurts you, talks to you like you're nothing, And in the podcast, it literally says the reason why I came back to her is because she was down the street, she would feed me, and she would give me money. And
You're lying.
no, he's saying this to her face. And she's quoting things, horrible things he used to say to her. And I'm like, in what world would that then be your assignment? Because you're literally describing devilish behavior. So now,
no, really, she's describing diabolical.
So now, would the strength of the Lord not be the ability to discern that and say, "Oh, this is what I should stay away from"?
Exactly. And I don't understand. Oh, guys, the fact that also there's a whole, huh?
I'm also realizing like these people, they're just doing, generational curses type of thing. His dad was a cheater. She thought her mom was wrong for leaving her cheating dad, so now she's and then like, you guys are pushing against generational curses, but it's like you guys don't even see that you're playing them yourselves.
Exactly. And I think what for me, the worst part about this whole thing is because they're in the congregation, they are in a space that actually allows this behavior to continue because it's not normal behavior. First of all, we have seen the pastor of Hillsong. Remember when he had his scandal and he stepped down and it was a whole thing? I don't know what church this is. I don't want to touch on it, but he had a whole scandal. The Hillsong pastor had a scandal years back, and he then had to step down from, leading the church, running the church. But not just him, a lot of pastors who have had quote unquote scandals come up in the years have stepped down from the congregation and leading the congregation. But in the story that you're telling me, it just goes to show that those people are just perpetuating and allowing the space for this kind of behavior to happen. Because ain't no freaking way.
And they are sitting there and they're like, yeah, we have
every Sunday.
We are strong and
we're persevering.
It's like, no, you're doing abnormal things, and that's what I was about to say. Like cheating happens a lot, right? Men cheating happens a lot. But that doesn't mean it's normal. That's abnormal. Just because something is a common
doesn't make it normal or right. And that's what people think is an anomaly. When a man doesn't cheat, it's like, oh my God. And it's like, no, but that's exactly what you should expect. And why is it, I think, when...
that someone... I'm saying we should be losing our minds. Like, it should be like, what? That's crazy. You cheat. But no,
exactly. Like it's deplorable. It's like, no. We know men do these things. It's normal. Mara, we lose our minds when a woman steps out. And then she will be dragged.
Mm-hmm. And the lady also is one of the this is why you're single type of women.
I'm sorry. Keep him.
No, please. Keep him.
Keep him. Like, that is your portion, ma'am. That is your portion. That is not my portion. That is not my kid's portion. There is never a space in time where you should be okay to be treated like a doormat, because that's exactly what's happening to her. And this actually reminds me of another unpopular opinion that you and I were discussing some time ago. Prostitution. You are laboring with your Nuna. Remember that chat that we had?
I remember that. And you know what? Oh, this actually ties in perfectly. This might be a walk, but walk with me.
Okay.
When I was listening to this, I was like, no man, what would make a woman stay with this? And in my head, I was like, money. I'm assuming he was paying a lot of
money, okay.
She does confirm that in the podcast. Apparently, he had 2 jobs. Okay, it sounds like it's the type of money where it's like someone is working, not like billionaire. It's like someone is working and paying me type of.
Someone's doing it, so I don't gotta do it.
Yeah, it was that type of situation, right?
Laboring with your Nuna.
Laboring with your Nuna. I think laboring with your Nuna exists on a spectrum.
Even in marriage.
Oh.
And
because I was about to say that.
Even in marriage.
There was this lady who got dragged with it when she said marriage is akin to sex work. Or she said
I remember.
They were losing their minds. But it's like, okay, it exists on a spectrum, in my opinion. And the one that we were talking about then is actually, I actually think sex work is work, but like specialized work.
What?
By this I mean, not all of us have the capacity, or majority of people do not have the capacity. And for that reason, I believe it can be specialized work. And so by specialized, usually when we think specialized, we can understand like a doctor is specialized work. They went to university for 6 years, a dentist, whatever. And I actually want to argue that sex work can be similar in that there is a certain aspect of the mental complications that you need to deal with that make it that not everyone can do it. Do you understand what I mean?
I get you. It's less acceptable than marriage.
Yeah, so I'm trying to say that on the spectrum of like prostitution period.
Yeah.
I want to say it can be seen or it can be considered to be the type of work that you actually need special. I don't want to say
coping mechanism, like you have a special capacity to do.
Yes.
Yes, let's use that. A special capacity to do that, like to lay down and say, this is how I'm earning my coins.
I actually want to argue that if people who are into sex work are serious about, sex work being work and it being like a profession, you could dare start to university. Hear me out. No, I'm being serious.
I need to hear you.
Because you know how they're sex therapists?
Yes.
They went to go study psychology specifically so they can talk about sex, be able to help people with their sex lives and whatever. So now you are now going the extra mile of like actually using the equipment in
practically.
Yes. Don't you think there is space or there is not space, but there's a possibility that it can become a specialized industry in that they are trained professionals who can professionally use their nuna to do what prostitutes do. And in that way, they can formalize the industry and it's an actual protected industry. And that's why
what are you saying?
That's what I'm saying.
I'm not working with you.
That's my opinion!
No, but this is what I'm saying.
I've left you behind.
No, sex work is work, but it's specialized work. Because the people say with prostitution, there's no protection in prostitution. It's not a formal industry. Like it's just seen as like umahota, like you just in the street. But I'm saying
and you're getting paid for being in the streets.
There's a specific expertise that I think could literally be formalized as a form of trade, because that's what you're doing. The danger comes because it's open and free for all. You have people who are doing it and they're in danger. Their mental is not okay. They are mentally.
So are you suggesting then that there would have to be measures in place like mental health?
You are actually a mental health professional. Do you get what I mean? You need to be equipped as a mental health professional to be able to do this.
No.
This is an unpopular
opinion. No.
This is an opinion.
You know why I get you now, but here's my thing.
Now you need to go to school. You need to go study 2 years, Baba. How are you going to do this safely? Whether physically, mentally, psychologically, emotionally, because that's when things go wrong. Like when you lose it, or
But I think the question then is, should it even be work in the first place?
I mean,
because you're laboring with your nuna.
Yeah, I know. But my argument is it's already a thing, right? So how do we make it safer?
Ain't no way to make this shit better, because if you think about it, think about the ramifications that you mentioned already. There's certain things you cannot come back from. There's that girl who had a cucumber train run through her. She had how many guys?
You see, and she was crying at the end. So now a professional would a professional would betray. That you shouldn't, because you know the it's like so I guess the complication comes with that technically everyone can do it, but clearly not everyone can do it. Even the ones who do it can't do it.
But this is my thing. This is my thing, because
there's no measures. I'm saying because there are no measures in place, because we can't think of it that way, because we see of that profession is the way you're reacting right now. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like, I mean, because look, listen, I think I've gone through life and I've gone through different phases and I've gone through different experiences where I've had to question myself in terms of what do I do with my Nuna, right? Mm-hmm. And how do I feel about my Nuna? And how do I feel about other cucumbers in my Nuna? And subsequently in my space, in my mind, in my body, in my soul, because that's what it is generally, right? From a moral standpoint, yes, it's already existing. Yes, already it's happening. But I don't think measures in place and that's why it's an unpopular opinion, I suppose, because my thing is then the question we then have to come up with is, who do we judge? Do we judge the actual industry that exists, or do we judge the buyers of the product, which is the Nuna? You get me? Because then I would argue, instead of saying let's make it safer, make it as unsafe as possible, push them into different segments, like make it as unsafe as possible so that they can say, you know what? Because there's been many people who've come out of that quote unquote industry who have made their lives into completely different things, who have chosen a different path because of how unsafe that quote unquote job is. I mean, if we're gonna Here's how I will sort of low-key say, I hear you. Mm-hmm. There's a content creator, her name is Cyan. Personally, I love that girl down, right? Huh?
Cyan Boujee.
Yeah, she's gone through a whole rebrand. So she did what I would say is slightly, oh, Jesus Christ, okay. She's leveled up. Like, she's built an entire career for herself outside of using her Nuna, right? I'm not going to speak on whether she is still doing it or not, right? But if you look at her now and you listen to her, you listen to her brand, you look at how she dresses, you look at all those things.
In fact, when I wrote this unpopular opinion, that I was thinking of Cyan Boujee. I wasn't saying. Okay, but you can finish what you were saying.
Yeah, so I feel like she's done what I would say, if you find yourself in that situation, God forbid, for whatever reason, use it as a stepping stone, right? Use it as a stepping stone. Because now what makes it even worse is the fact that, fine, we regulate the space. We find a way for the mental health aspect of it, but then financially, the money that you get you're worse off. You're no better. You're literally worse off, and you're worse off because you've been running through the cucumbers.
I was gonna say about Cyan. Cyan is someone who never wanted to be identified as a sex worker. She was tricking
in the first place.
Yeah, she was tricking, which is on the spectrum of sex work, right? But she never wanted to be a sex worker. In other words, she didn't have the capacity of saying, yeah, I'm in that space. Do you get what I'm saying? And she recently said that she learned her lesson because she was doing something with some old guy, and then the old guy kind of low-key robbed her. And, he never paid her for whatever. And then she couldn't make rent.
Robbed her.
Yeah. She couldn't make rent
after selling.
Yeah. And
but you see now, so now then, but you see, this is now the thing. This goes back to that chat we were having. When your vagina closes tomorrow.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. If you're gonna do it, in a perfect world, in my opinion, in a perfect world where this thing exists, it needs to be specialized work. Nkara or doctor of this thing. You get what I'm saying? Because majority of people do not have the capacity to healthily sell their nuna.
Okay, but then when you say healthily sell their nuna, you're then suggesting that there is a healthy way to do it.
I'm assuming there is. Otherwise, why are they continuing? Because I can't. They're making money.
Because they think they have no other choice. That's always the argument. The argument is always, I don't have another choice. And I remember when you would say, like, I've watched quite a few interviews when they would say, okay, why don't you work as why don't you work in retail? They'll say, I make 10 times more that amount in this industry than I would in retail. But then my question then is, if you do make 10 times that more amount, why do you always then find yourself back at the same spot where hypothetically, like Cyan, you can't make rent because they didn't pay you? Because this industry relies on that other gender, which is not necessarily to be trusted all the time. So you are putting a whole, no guys, just, you know what, just don't labor with your nuna. Don't labor with your nuna, period. Leave your nuna where she is. Your nuna deserves to be treated with, you know what, no, that's it. No, don't labor with your nuna, period.
Okay. I think in conclusion, my unpopular opinion is sex work should be like a specialization, gara or doctor. If it were possible, you could get an undergrad in it and do it and stay sane. No, I'm being actually so serious. No, that's part of the reason why, right? Because anyone can do it. It's the easiest thing. You don't know how to make money. Go do it. But I'm saying it shouldn't be like that. It should actually be a service specifically for people who've been through training, who've been through whatever. I don't know how that would look, right? Clearly, it's not something
that is actually
it's unqualified. Everyone's unqualified to do it because we don't have the structures.
I was saying, I think I hear you with the unpopular opinion, but I think the liberals would actually appreciate that. I don't think it's necessary. I think it's very popular, like because of the way of the world right now.
Yeah, I mean, dude, of course, I'm not going to say TikTok shouldn't be a thing. Unfortunately, it is a thing. But the way I would imagine for it to be less of a taboo or a weird thing is if it's like, no, I'm going to a professional. What's wrong? Yeah, she's telling
my girl. Dr. Mang.
That's my unpopular opinion on that. I think it should be specialized work. Make an undergrad degree for this thing. It's like a sex therapist, except you're actually going. In future, an interesting episode would be an episode where me and you pass the Bechdel test. Do you know the Bechdel test?
The what?
The Bechdel test.
What's that?
It's like if you're watching a movie, it passes the Bechdel test if there are two women who don't talk about a man, are not talking to a man about a man, or can't remember the third one.
Please type that to me so I can actually look into it for our next episode.
That would be so funny.
Okay.
So basically, the idea is oftentimes women, we will just get together and start talking about men most of the time.
Oh, okay.
We're talking about a man, we're talking to a man. If you know what I mean? It's giving decent, I mean. That would be funny. An episode, do we pass the Bechdel test? In this one, we failed. We talked about that past.
We did.
And
we did. We did.
Oh, we have a good one. The one about men, DNA not being a legacy. Anyway, let me stop recording. Say bye.